Hello everyone and welcome to our 7th video on the stimulus package, one of the most important. I thought I'd get it out there as quickly as possible. The lovely Prime Minister ScoMo has announced this all but 1 hour ago, and I'm going to go through this as quickly and as best as I can to give you guys an update, because everyone is going to be affected by this package in a positive light, whether indirectly or directly. So if you've lost a job, your business has had a downturn, or your business is starting to struggle because other businesses have lost their ability to employ people and continue their business, this package is going to help you. So long story short, $1,500 per fortnight per employee up to 6 months. Now let's get into the eligibility and timing. So if your business is earning a turnover of less than $1 billion, and you've had a downturn in 30% compared to a period last year at a minimum of 1 month, so your March period has had a significant reduction of 30% compared to your March period in 2019, you will be eligible. Likewise, 50% for businesses over $1 billion, and this does not apply to banks. Employers must elect to participate in this scheme. What does that mean? You have to jump onto the ATO website and register your interest. So what the process is, I'm not too sure yet, but you will have to provide some sort of evidence as to why you think you're eligible. So it'll be some sort of maybe a P&L or a letter from your accountant. I'm not too sure yet, and I will keep you guys updated on that. And the link to register is in the description of this video. Now this subsidy or grant applies to all employees with eligible visas as discussed down in this category. You can go and check out, if you do have a visa holder, who is eligible. But one of the most important issues I wanted to raise is casual employers are only eligible if they've been at the business for 12 months since the 1st of March 2019. So from 1 March 2020, they have to be employed for 12 months up to that date to participate in this scheme. You'll see why in a minute, because with the payments you have to actually pay a minimum of $1,500. Now let's look into who is going to be able to receive it, what type of employees, and how the payments are going to work. So I've kind of discussed over the 30% requirement, and I'm just going to touch on these self-employed individuals or sole traders. So the requirement is exactly the same, but because they're self-employed, they will be able to apply for this JobKeeper payment as well. Whether they have to pay themselves that payment and lodge a PAYG withholding or a BAS, I'm not too sure yet. So just jump on, apply, and if I get any updates as well, I'll let you know how that's going to affect the self-employed. But it is available to self-employed people, and as you'll see in a second, it is a larger payment than actually going and getting the job seeker payment. I just love the JobKeeper payment. It's just a cracker. Now this will also apply to people who've been made redundant and wish to re-engage with their employer, and their employer wishes to re-engage with them. So if you lost your job and would then re-engage after 1 March 2020, you will also, and the employer will also, be eligible for this scheme. Now let's go through the payment process. So you'll have to pay a minimum of $1,500 per fortnight before tax, or including tax is the other way of saying that. And if an employee already receives $1,500 or more, the employer will have to pay them their usual wage, and the $1,500 will be used to assist the employer to pay them their usual wage. There'll be a few examples later on, so just hold out. If an employee ordinarily receives less than $1,500, the employer must pay them $1,500, whether they receive less or more before. So they've got to come up with this money each fortnight and pay their employees the $1,500. And you see that may be an issue as I get down the bottom of this page here. Now if an employee has been stood down and they want to re-engage or keep them going, so if an employee has been stood down, they're going to have to pay them a minimum of $1,500 and continue their employment. So once you apply, you will have to then go to all your employees that you've stood down and continue this payment, as far as I understand. Now, if an employee was employed on 1 March 2020, subsequently ceased employment, and then has now been re-engaged with the eligible employer, or it have to be the same employer that they were made redundant or let go beforehand. So they re-engage with that employer, and then the employer will then pay $1,500 per fortnight as well. The superannuation, it looks to be voluntary, so the employer could pay superannuation on that payment, but looks like they don't have to on that additional wage amount with regards to the JobKeeper payment. So I'll provide an update on that if that does change, but it does look like the employer does not have to pay any superannuation on the JobKeeper payment. Now, this is the important part, but may be an issue for employers with regards to their cash flow. So payments will be made to the employer monthly in arrears. So the first payment, as you'll see, is there on the first week of May 2020 for the month of April. So it starts now, the 30th of March, and during this month you have to pay your employees $1,500 a fortnight, and then you will receive that money back on the first week of May. So you've got to come up with the cash first to pay your employees, and then the government's going to pay you in arrears. So that's a little bit of a tricky situation. I'm going to see if there's any kind of comments around that with those employees or employers that are really struggling to come up with that cash, or if there's going to be any assistance from the government there. But at the moment they're going to pay that in arrears. Don't get me wrong, this is a very good scheme. However, this could cause a little bit of impact on those really hard hit businesses. So here's your example. So we've got a self-employment example, we've got a worker with multiple jobs example, we've got an employee made redundant after 1 March example, and we've got an employee with 5 employees. So the self-employed one, pretty straightforward, reduction of 30% from a typical month in the previous year. So their turnover has fallen by 30% since last year in any comparative period. They're going to receive $1,500 per fortnight. The worker with multiple jobs, so essentially if someone has 2 jobs, they can only receive 1 JobKeeper payment, and only 1 employer can receive the JobKeeper payment as well, and without notifying anyone, they will automatically revert to the employer that employee has nominated as the tax-free threshold. Otherwise, that employee can then nominate who that employer would be. So there's a little bit of power there in the employee's hands to choose which employer is going to be able to receive that JobKeeper payment, essentially, and it may be the case where that employee chooses which I guess their career or their job in the next 6 months. So employee made redundant on the 1st of March. So this employee was made redundant on the 20th of March. They want to re-engage. Before being re-engaged, the employee was registered with Centrelink and receiving payment services. If he wants to be re-engaged and receive the $1,500 a fortnight rather than the $1,124.50 per fortnight he's receiving from the job seeker payment, so he wants to receive the JobKeeper payment because it's more, he does have to notify Centrelink that he's now receiving the JobKeeper payment and will cease receiving the job seeker payment. With regard to multiple employees, you're just going to get $1,500 per employee. So it says here Sarah is paying her employees $1,700 a fortnight before tax. She'll get $1,500 for each of her employees, and then she will top up the other $200. If there's any confusion on this, or you get any questions, let me know. I'll try to whip up this little summary as quickly as I can to give you guys the best chance to look at it, because this is pretty, significant stuff, and may, right now affect a business's choice to whether to go under or not. So have a read of this. If you've got any questions, let me know, and please call me if you've got a specific situation you want me to address. There's no obligations or anything like that. Again, this information is from the Treasury website, and you can see the link below as well with the ATO registration page as well. So have a great night, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video. Thank you very much.